You know, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And unfortunately for Faze, this is exactly what happened. Because as of it right now, this whole TEEQ situation with Faze, him coming out and just saying, hey, the people who are running Faze aren't taking care of a lot of their content creators, just aren't taking care of their people in general. And once he's made that announcement, so many people have been talking about the situation. It's the big question is who's running Faze? Like, who is the captain behind Faze running the ship? Because it is just they're running a ship into the iceberg. I was one of the few people, or one of the people who invested into Faze when they went public, and it was like $11 shares, and I invested a few $100 into it, and now the shares are worth less than $1. And it's just crazy because I had such hopes for Faze, like especially right before they were going public, they were almost worth $1 billion. But it seems like since them going public, every decision they've made has just been the wrong decision. And it feels very corporatized, and there's no soul left in Faze. And unfortunately, when you have this beloved child that we're going to call Faze Clan, and it grows up to become something that's, you know, not the chosen one. It was like Anakin from Star Wars. It's like he was supposed to be the chosen one, but instead he grew up and became the villain. And for Faze, that's exactly it. They were like the chosen esports gaming brand that could have ventured out and go mainstream and really bring gaming into that next atmosphere, stratosphere of popularity. But instead, it's become like Darth Vader and just kind of solidified some of the stigma around gaming. And it just seems like, not that I'm blaming them for like the loss of growth within gaming, because I think that's just more of like an economic issue at the moment. But Faze Clan is doing themselves no favors by the way they're acting. Now, this whole situation, guys, I have so much like personal feelings for, because in my early 20s, I bought into an Anytime Fitness franchise, and looking back at it, a lot of it was my mistakes. It was not 100% all me. There's definitely some shenanigans going on with my business partner and whatnot, and like taking advantage of the situation. But as a young guy who didn't understand business and business deals, I allowed it to get personal, and you just can't ever allow it to go personal. And I think that's exactly what happened here.
And everybody at Faze, I really do. I think.
What do you think, Nate? What do you think? Let me know.
I think there's two sides of that coin.
Oftentimes
two sides
true.
of that story.
Two sides. Yeah, true, right? One's never gonna tell the full truth.
With those 4 or 5 guys and everybody else that was a part of Faze built is truly special, man. Like, nobody can doubt or question the cultural impact that Faze has had on gaming.
I bet you if you go to like any household in the nation and you ask them, or like you ask them, hey, do you know what Faze Clan is? A majority of those houses are at least gonna know what it is. They might not know in detail, but they're like, oh yeah, I recognize that brand name, or I know that name.
One of the biggest teams, if not the biggest team, in terms of overall brand recognition in the entire world. And you want to poke holes in that all day, fine. But
I'm here
from
with
my
you.
generation,
What you're putting down, I'm picking up,
Faze
homie.
and Optic.
I mean, hell, they even have a collab.
Like the TSMs and the Team Liquids and the Fanatics and the G2, all that.
Those
Faze is probably one of the
like
most recognizable brands. Like, if you went up
right?
to an 18-year-old kid
are number
today
1 and 2 most popular,
and ask them if they know who Team Liquid is,
Cloud9, all of those others are like right
I'm sure maybe you get like 3,
in terms
4
of like
out of 10,
I would say notoriety,
maybe.
like
You go to an
mainstream
18-year-old kid and ask them,
it would probably go Faze,
you know what
then
Faze
Optic.
is. More times than not, I would think like 7, 8, 9 out of 10 are probably going to know what that is.
Yeah, see, that's Nate's just proving my point right there. Yeah,
that logic might not be perfect, but that's my perception of it. It really depends on where you're asking, who you're asking. But overall, North America, I think more people are going to know what Faze is in comparison to any other team.
Yeah, you're not. I'm not arguing with you, homie.
They've done an incredible job building up that business, but the problem is when you build something really strong and really exciting, and
you need to grow
really
and scale, and it's
moving
fast
and
and
shaking an industry. People are going to want to come in, and they're going to want to be a part of it.
The Kevin O'Learys, the Mr. Wonderfuls of the world are going to want a slice of that pie. And once they get a big enough slice of that pie, they're going to dictate how it's ran.
And
you're not. You're not going to allow. You are no longer in control of your baby. As soon as you start giving up ownership within that, people are going to. Now new people have ownership, and that means they have rights to how operations are ran.
You know, Faze is a business as they.
But if you don't own a majority of those operations, then you're no longer in control, right? Like if you own 49%, you no longer control the overall sum. Yes, you may be the majority shareholder, but if 51% kind of are against you, you're kind of screwed now.
Scale,
it's no
they
longer
needed
your baby.
money to pay for the growth that they were trying to
100%
have from a business perspective. So
I agree, brother. I mean, this is the issue. They lost the rights to their baby.
I think Faze is going to be okay long term.
I mean, okay.
I mean, I hate to see like the original creators have such a sour taste in their mouth, because it's really hard for these kids that grew up building this thing, and then, you know, they take on capital, they raise money.
Yeah.
Now there's more people at the table.
More mouths
people
to feed.
At the table that they don't think belong there,
and people at the table like to share their opinions.
TEEQO and Rain aren't the guys that are actually vetting who's coming in and investing in the business and who's running it day to day.
And if they are, they're probably on the far end of the dinner table.
It's a tougher situation for them to be in.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they were welcomed into the process, if they were consulted, or if they had talked as a group more broadly.
Probably, but nothing in beneficial
terms. You know, this is just the way
probably
business works. And so I understand if there's feelings of resentment.
Sorry, man.
If they weren't made whole and able to have a say in what they're doing, or the Faze business as a whole, then I understand why they feel the way that they do. Like, there's no denying that emotion, right? But, you know, the decision makers at the time, they've gone through different iterations of ownership and who's sort of, you know, guiding the ship. And it's just hard, man. It's hard for kids that don't have experience when you bring on investors and you bring on executives to come run the company. In a lot of ways, going back to what I was saying, you kind of just trust them to make the right decisions for Faze and for you. But that's not always going to be the case, man, because sometimes what you're chasing after Faze as a brand does not align with what the investors and the people that are now putting their own skin in the game need to go to do to make money. So I just think the dynamic and people's perspectives, I think everybody's perspective is probably fair in their own minds, but, you know, from everybody else on the other side of the fence, they feel like they got one done over on them.
No, dude, brother, that's I completely agree. It's I mean, for me, when I owned the gyms, I was supposed to own 10% of the gyms, and I stopped going to college because I saved up money. I bought into this gym, so basically I just paid my way to become an owner into this facility, but I only owned 10%. So any of the decisions that I wanted to make, it's not like any of them are actually going to come to fruition or manifest. And unfortunately for TEEQ and everybody else, it kind of feels like the same boat. For me, it's like when it came time to even get paid, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm cranking out new members, I'm cranking out new clients, I'm training a ton, like I'm expecting a bigger bump in my salary because I'm putting in the work, right? So when you put in the work, you do your sales, especially in that field, you would think that you would see an increase in pay, and I never did. At least not directly from like seeing it from the profits of the gym, or at least getting 10% profits from the gym. And when it came time to like, okay, sit down and talk, is like, what did I actually own 10% of, you know? And it might have even, I'm not going to get like too much into this because I don't want to get into like legal trouble, but with Nade and his situation, well, not Nade, with TEEQ and the Faze Clan situation, it just seems once more that the business guys behind it are just in there for being in business. They see how much money is in esports, or how much there was in esports, and they wanted a slice of that pie, and they may have come in and got too much of that pie, and now the market's not nearly as appetizing, and they kind of ruined the scene because they ate up all of the, I don't want to say ate up all of the inventory. This is a really bad analogy, but I hope you guys are picking out what I'm saying. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Faze Clan, if you guys are listening, I think the best solution for you guys as a whole is somebody come in and buy up Faze Clan and take it off the market. Kind of like what Elon did for Twitter. I think somebody out there should be doing for Faze Clan, scooping it up and putting it back in the right decision. Have somebody who's passionate about gaming, who's passionate about building a brand, and is willing to take that risk, come back and take another swing of bat. But if you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, please like and subscribe. Come join me over on kick.com/allride. Kick's an amazing platform. If you haven't checked it out, I would love to be the first person you come check out because there's always going to be a vibe. Make sure to share this video with your friend because once we get to 500 subscribers here on YouTube, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. And for sharing this video with your friends, here's a picture of my sweet little girl, Annie. She's my buddy. She is my pal. She's my sweet little girl. We challenge all of you. Make somebody laugh today, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.